Victor Newman's vengeful vow is driven as much by wounded pride as by business loss. The takeover of Newman Enterprises by Cain Ashby and Phyllis Summers isn't just a corporate defeat, it's a public humiliation for a man who built his identity on control and dominance. When Victor confronts Cain and Phyllis, he already knows they won't back down. That confrontation is less about negotiation and more about planting fear. Victor wants them to remember that every enemy who has crossed him eventually paid a price. Even though he lacks immediate leverage, his warning signals that he's shifting into long-game mode, where patience, manipulation, and indirect strikes replace brute force. At the Abbott mansion, tension simmers in a very different way. Diane Jenkins Abbott is growing increasingly frustrated with Jack Abbott's reactive approach. She was hoping Jack and Kyle's trip would result in tangible progress, especially regarding Matt Clark, but instead, Jack admits the plan stalled due to escalating Newman chaos. For Diane, this is unacceptable. Matt remains vulnerable and uncertainty is the enemy. Her ultimatum isn't about undermining Jack, it's about forcing him to choose action over hesitation. Diane has spent much of her life surviving by taking control when others freeze, and that instinct is fully on display here. If Jack won't move decisively, Diane is clearly prepared to push her own strategy forward, regardless of who she upsets. The situation worsens when Jack and Kyle update Diane on Billy Abbott's news about Cain and Phyllis's aggressive assault on Newman Enterprises. This reframes everything. It becomes clear that Cain and Phyllis aren't simply seizing an opportunity, they're orchestrating widespread destabilization. The Abbotts quickly realize that once Newman falls, Jabot could easily be next. Phyllis, in particular, has a personal vendetta. The Abbotts tempted her with a deal and then yanked it away, a move she will never forget or forgive. Diane understands this immediately, which is why her concern turns into urgency. Waiting isn't just risky anymore, it's dangerous. While the Abbotts assess the threat, Victor is already imagining the fallout from his enemy's overconfidence. Cain and Phyllis believe they've neutralized him, and that belief may become their biggest mistake. Victor thrives when underestimated. His vow of revenge hints at a strategy that won't be obvious or immediate. Instead of reclaiming power directly, he may aim to turn allies against each other, expose hidden weaknesses, or manipulate public and legal pressure until Cain and Phyllis's alliance implodes from within. Victor's greatest weapon has always been his understanding of human nature, and this moment pushes him to use it again. Recognizing that the Newman brand is bleeding credibility by the hour, Adam Newman and Victoria Newman step in together for damage control. Their alliance is significant because it represents the evolution of both characters. Once locked in constant rivalry, they now see clearly that internal warfare is a luxury the family can't afford. Victoria focuses on stabilizing the company's public image, reassuring investors, employees, and board members that Newman Enterprises is still viable. Adam, meanwhile, operates behind the scenes, managing perception, anticipating enemy moves, and preparing counter-strategies that don't require Victor's direct involvement. Their teamwork also underscores a quiet shift in power within the Newman family. For perhaps the first time, Victor isn't the sole architect of the family's survival. Adam and Victoria are proving they can function as leaders without tearing each other apart, and that may permanently change how authority is divided once this crisis ends. However, their alliance also places them directly in the line of fire. If Cain and Phyllis sense that the Newman siblings are regaining momentum, they may escalate their attack in more ruthless ways. What makes this storyline especially volatile is how interconnected everything has become. Victor's revenge obsession, Diane's ultimatum, Jack's hesitation, Adam and Victoria's alliance, and Phyllis and Cain's unchecked ambition are all feeding into the same storm. Every move now has consequences beyond its original intent. A business decision becomes a personal attack. A delayed response becomes a vulnerability. Loyalty is being tested across families, and old grudges are resurfacing with new intensity. Ultimately, this arc isn't just about who controls Newman Enterprises, it's about who adapts fastest under pressure. Victor is learning that brute force no longer works the way it once did. Jack is being pushed to choose decisiveness over caution. Diane is asserting her authority in a family that often underestimates her. Adam and Victoria are redefining sibling loyalty. And Cain and Phyllis, emboldened by success, may soon discover that power gained too quickly attracts enemies just as fast. Genoa City is heading toward a reckoning where alliances will shift, betrayals will sting deeper, and the cost of revenge may be higher than anyone expects.